I think as entrepreneurs, we feel like we've got to be all consuming. We've got to spend all this time doing it. Social media, we've got to be on there all the time, omnipresent, creating all this content. And I've actually found I've got way more engagement just posting some stories every now and again, and my post cadence has definitely slowed down, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that time to do a lot of the stuff I was doing, and I've actually had more success doing that than I had putting all the what I thought was productive time in. But it turns out it was just busy work, and I think we can accomplish a lot more in, if we're given, I forget what's the name of that law, where if if we're given 40 hours to do something, we'll take 40 hours to do it. But if we're given 2 hours, we'll get it done in two.
Right. The activity will expand to the time
Yeah.
allotted, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a really interesting lesson in that too. And I was very upfront before I accepted the role that I do have this health practice that I would like to grow. It's a passion project of mine. It makes me more productive in my day job because that part of me is fulfilled, and they were absolutely cool with that. And I just feel like, and I think perhaps the overarching theme of all of this and this episode and the next episode that we're probably already in now,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be either or. It can be and.
Absolutely. Huge. I love that you just said that. It is an and most times, and asking, does this move me towards my goal? Does this
Yeah.
move me, towards my future? Is it aligned with what I want to provide for myself, my family? And then having grace, like, I am going to the gym after this. I have not been to the gym. I pay a ridiculous amount of money for the gym. Now I got to switch to another gym, which is the same gym brand, but it's the most expensive membership down here. So I am having some grace because I got COVID, and I don't, I'm just not near the gym. I'm near this other gym, and I'm like, it's okay. It's okay that I haven't gone. But at some point I got to stop. Like, I've been walking on the beach and doing some of that, but throwing my entire schedule and routine off just because of the location change, knowing that that's okay. But then you do have to work to get back on track for the things that are most important to you. So
Yeah.
I prioritized sleep for the past few weeks, and now it's like it's on my calendar. It's time blocked. I moved it already once today. I moved it to after. Maybe I'm saying this because I need some accountability. I gotta go get in the car. But having grace for yourself as you step into something new, whether that's into entrepreneurship or more into this intrapreneurship, really not underestimating that it's going to shake things up.
Yeah. And I'm still getting into it's only week 3 for me. I'm still getting into that routine, and I haven't been spending as much time outside in the sun as I would like to. Don't let my tan fool you. Um, but it's just about, it's like you give yourself the grace. It's like with the same with the gym. You're sick, but in your mind now you're like, all right, now it's time to get back into gear. And it's the same with finding these little pockets of time. That's what I'm going to do to get outside for 10, 15 minutes during the day. Or I've definitely been, doing less of my, low intensity cardio of walking and things like that. I've definitely done less of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I've just found the time where I can. And sometimes you go through these seasons, right? We talk about that a lot. There's a lot of adjustment with these kind of changes, and everybody goes through them in one way or the other.
And we have to honor them. It's not just about
Yeah.
acknowledging them, it's really about honoring them and being really real about what season you're in and what you need to be focused on and what the priorities are. And it takes time. You think, I remember, we don't talk about this a lot, but I remember when the suicide happened. I thought I was going to take the weekend and then I'd be good. I really legitimately thought I just need a couple days, right? I just need a couple
Yeah.
days to recover, and I'll be good, ready to go. And like, you and the people closest to me and my clients were like, I think you might need like a little more time. And I remember as the days were ticking by, I was like, oh wow, I actually didn't like, I do need more time. And there was part of throwing myself back into my other people, which was really healthy and helpful. um but to me, it's just that reality check. Like, I always think I'm going to be able to accomplish so much more, so much faster, and just go go go. And I've really learned to value that slowing down to speed up. um really like thinking out more steps ahead, other than just, okay, I make this decision, here's what's going to happen, here's what's going to happen. As like a high I, high D, moving very, very quickly, entrepreneur, like that's, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'll worry about the next steps when I get there. But I've really, when I start thinking about family and what's getting my time, energy, and effort, I've started thinking about, is this a place I want to be 5 years from now? And if the answer is yes, awesome. Keep pouring into it. Is this a place I want to be 5 years from now? And it's a no. However, it's a, what I'm going to learn through this process is going to take me to my next
Yeah.
step. Or, like, I was looking at some jobs. I'm like, this is not even a company I'd want to work for, but it would kind of pay the bills, but not even really. But I was considering it. And that would have been a bad move. That was not
Yeah.
in alignment. That was definitely fear driving it versus empowerment.
Yeah. And I heard something, I forget the guy's name, it's an Indian guy. He's very, very successful. He was on, I think it was a Diary CEO. I was
Mm-hmm.
going to the John Bellion concert when I listened to it, but he said something on there that I hadn't heard before. And I've since heard a few people say it. I don't know if it's because he said it first, but he was saying basically, if you want to get wealthy, don't do what you love what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that really had a big impact on me, especially when I moved into this new role. It's like, who loves boilers? But I love the work around it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it actually does. I mean, keeping people warm in the winter is actually very important.
Yeah.
And you're not only helping them, you're helping the landlords who, it's stressful for them trying to manage this, and the supers and all the people they have to manage and all this. And, you know, you don't have to love, I think I've said that before, right? I said on one of my marathon videos of falling in love with the outcome. It doesn't have to, you don't have to enjoy the process. You could just enjoy the outcome. And I think having experienced it myself, and I'm sure you've been through seasons of this too, and I know a lot of our listeners probably go through this also, is this constant feeling of like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not living up to my potential. This isn't my calling. What's my passion? There's room for all of it in your professional life. And I think if you really focus on going back to that why that we always talk about, if the why is the most important thing, if the outcome is the most important thing, it doesn't actually matter what you do to get there.
Yeah, there's a million
Like if the
different ways.
outcome is you want to spend really quality time with your family, be financially free in the sense that you're not stressed all the time about money, do what you can to get there.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how much of a passion it is for you doing what you do during the day. And more importantly, enjoy the people you work with. That's such a big thing too.
That's to me not negotiable.
Yeah.
If you don't enjoy the environment that you're in or the people that you're working with, and I don't mean you have to be besties with everybody, and that comes down to core values.
Yeah.
First, you have to know what your core values are, your personal core values, and then look at the company's core values. And not every company has it completely fleshed out, right? But you can look and see what they value, with where they spend their time, where they give extra. But a lot of people don't even ask those questions, right? So one of the reasons that I felt great about going to work for Priva House and Nikki and DJ Tenhove was, like, DJ swore on one of his podcasts, and of course you had seen him on stage, but that's something very simple. I can't be in environments where I tried that. I got in trouble for
Yeah.
saying the word pissed on stage. Not in trouble, but like kind of like talked to. And I'm like, that's just that's not thriving to me.
Right.
So really looking at go through, check people's social media, search them up. They show up one way in an interview, but what are they putting out there in the world? It doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that they're putting out there. You and I don't agree on everything, but we're very much in alignment. I would do anything with you.
Yeah.
It's it is so important, and that just comes with asking more questions. And even before you ask more questions, making sure that you have clarity around what your core values are, and making sure that you have clarity around is like, am I just seeking kind of stress relief and trying to escape from something right now? Or do I really see this as like an alignment to keep me moving forward?
Yeah. And I just keep coming back to that outcome. I think so many people aren't willing to pivot and stay in something so they can continue growing their skill set and
Mhm.
perhaps working in an industry that might not be their passion, but it's going to give them the experience that they need to cross over to do something that they're passionate about in
Yeah.
10, 15 years. I think we're very short-sighted of I want this now and I need this now. And if I don't have it, and by the way, I'm saying this as someone who is incredibly, I'm like macro impatient and macro patient and micro impatient. Like I'm
Yeah.
so impatient, even though I know the long game and I know I'm going to get there, I'm so impatient. But when you land somewhere that kind of
Ooh,
soothes that for you, life is a lot
I
more
am.
peaceful.
Yes. I'm hearing I am statements. Um, it is a lot more
Yeah.
peaceful. You I want to just go a little bit deeper on when you mentioned about your why and different ways of achieving it. And I think people don't dig deep enough on their why, right? So like my why is not just to help realtors live a life by design, right? My why is not just selling multi-million dollar properties. My why is not like I am a great I'm a great boiler salesperson, or I'm the best boiler. Like, we don't dig deep enough. Like, my why, my reason that I'm here on this earth is to end as much suffering as possible and come alongside as much struggle, because struggle is a gift and that's how we grow. So whether I'm helping people in the steel industry, which I was doing less than a year ago, or people in the real estate industry, or I am helping solve a problem for something else, like, you have a drive to solve problems, you have a drive to help people. You can do that a million different ways.
Yeah.
So it's just on what the vehicle looks like. Now, you might be like, wow, this is great money, but I'm actually not helping people. And maybe I feel like maybe I'm even taking advantage of people. That's not going to be a win. It's a win the money wise, and I could take care of my bills and my family. But if it's out of integrity, then and it's not in alignment with your why, then it's a no. But most people don't dig deep enough into what their why is. So when someone asks you, like, who are you? What do you do? If you just
Yeah, but
respond with your job title, you're not digging
yeah,
deep enough.
I was going to say, I kind of go along that line a little bit, that I think people attach their identity to what they do. Um, and even I was going to say, even if something doesn't align with your why, it can it can be a vehicle or be something that enables you to do something that does.
Hmm.
Maybe it will afford you to go and do some volunteer work that you otherwise wouldn't be able to dedicate that time to, because you have to get a second job
Yeah.
to level your income up. Or maybe you do have a side hustle, but you've got nothing to invest in it unless you have a job. It's again, it can all help and all feed into each other, and you're not what your job title is, you're not what LinkedIn says you is. And I'm so ready to just can LinkedIn, because I think it's such a toxic place. um, it's just a big circle jerk. It's professional Tinder. Um, but yeah, I lost my train of thought there. But it just, I see we're getting a bit close to time. I did want to pivot a little bit and just us give the audience a few things that if you're an entrepreneur going into a corporate space, what from your entrepreneurial spirit and backgrounds and experience can you bring to that role and really work as an entrepreneur?
Mhm.
I have a few listed here, but I'll let you go first. I'll throw you on the spot.
I mean, I'm just going to go from my own personal experience. The question is, what are you bringing as an entrepreneur into the entrepreneurial space?
Yeah, yeah, if you're an entrepreneur coming into a day job now.
Yeah. I think there's no, I don't think anyone works harder than someone with an entrepreneurial spirit because they take a challenge and they want to achieve a positive outcome as
Yeah,
long as they believe in it. And
yeah,
I think that that's a drive that cannot be taught. Um, so just that ability to take an idea or take a problem and either find a solution or make the current solution better and then take action on it. And if you're a great entrepreneur, you've learned how to delegate. If you're a beginning entrepreneur, you may be a little stuck in having to do it all yourself, but learning how, valuing having different people around you and the ability to delegate, which I think works really well in a corporate environment because the teams tend to have people that are really amazing at certain things. So if you know how to leverage that and you
yeah,
trust in that, um, that's huge. Being able to sell yourself as an entrepreneur is the same thing you're doing in the interview process. And I would say lean into what you believe in yourself, like the value that you bring to the table, and making sure that you ask for those non-negotiables, those things that are really important to you. And so understanding what's the culture, looking around and not just taking someone's word for it, speaking to some people within the company or going on Glassdoor. There's a little caveat with those, but what's kind of circling around this,
yeah,
um, and knowing that you are flexible. Every successful entrepreneur is flexible. Like, not one entrepreneur has been like, "Oh, I set out a path and it went perfectly." Um,
yeah.
so being open to that flexibility of what this process is going to look like. And I know I'm kind of answering the question, but also giving different information. Um,
Well, that's great. There's multiple answers in one. A lot to take from that. Yeah, and top of my list is radical ownership. Like
mm,
nothing will set you apart more in a corporate setting than owning your shit, being accountable, just taking things on. Like you referenced this 30, 60, 90. Just like your first 90 days are what you're making it in
yeah,
because you have an entrepreneurial spirit that doesn't wait for someone to tell them what to do. You just your instincts, all right, this is my drive, I'm going to use it. And I think so many people are just wait and sit to be told what to do. If they're not told to do anything, they just piss the day away, do nothing productive, do nothing fulfilling. And I think if you can bring that accountability to your day job, you're going to thrive and you're going to feel fulfilled because you're doing things in your way within the structure of the company. Um, there was at, when I was at Showcase, they were talking about launching a podcast and went back and forth on it for 6, 7 months. Nothing really happened, and in the end, I just kind of hit Kurt up and said, "I've got experience doing podcasts. I would like, can I just do it?" And I just started a new role there that kind of was more encompassing business development, and I ran with it.
mhm,
And I was just an example of that. And you will get that fulfillment and that satisfaction that you would from running your own thing just by doing that, and that will set you apart and set your superiors, your bosses will look at that, look at what you're doing, knowing, and as an entrepreneur, you know what a relief it is to not have to tell someone to do something. And you're like, oh, thank God you did that.
mhm,
Like the best employees I ever had they would just do it. I had one guy in particular, Gio. He would just do and be like, oh, and he'd say, yeah, I thought, with these people coming in, I should get this ready now. I'm like, you're the man.
yeah,
Like you will set yourself apart just by being accountable.
yeah. And make sure that whoever you're going to be working with and working for, that they want to be pushed, because
Yeah.
true talent pushes leaders to become better leaders. ask that question, because if someone is looking for an employee mindset, like punch the clock, do the checklist, it's probably not for you if you're not an entrepreneur. But if someone is like, yeah, we want to be pushed, we want to grow, we know we don't know what we need in this. Um, we want someone, right? We always hear like leaders go, I don't know why, they don't take ownership. They don't take ownership. They don't treat it like their business, because it's not their business. And no one's going to treat the business like it's their business if they don't own part of it. But when you can align with entrepreneurs that have started businesses, that have failed, that have succeeded, that radical ownership that they take to anything that they take on, it's like that is their business. Even if they don't own the company, they so deeply own the things they commit to. Again, you can't pay for that, but you also can't constrain it so heavily that you kill that spirit, because it can't be killed. The person will just leave and they'll be miserable, and probably pretty influential, because most entrepreneurs are pretty influential. So you want to make sure that if you invite that into your world, that you are prepared to be pushed, that you are prepared to have fierce conversations, right?
Yeah,
And
we're saying all of this, and I'm sure there are people who are listening or watching that are like, well, I'm not at a company where the culture's like that. And I totally get that. And I've been at places like that. And sometimes you do have to, and I did this, almost step backwards. I took a pay cut for one job.
Mhm.
Um, it was, the skills that I needed for it was only a slither of what I could actually bring to the table. But I knew that if I actually really uh, could demonstrate I was good at that, then it would give me a stepping stone to further my career elsewhere. And it turns out that happened.
Yeah.
Um, so, you know, it's easy for us to say it, but sometimes you do have to really focus on that end goal. And okay, maybe I need to make a move and do, maybe this job is going to be less in tune with what I'm passionate about. Maybe I won't be making as much money right now, but in 3 or 4 years I'm going to be way ahead because it's going to get me out of this situation now. I can breathe a little bit. Maybe it's worth taking a pay cut to be able to be an entrepreneur somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe that's worth it to you.
And I mean, there are some decisions that have greater impact. Like if you decide I'm going to take this and then you got to move across the country, obviously that's bigger, but decisions can be changed. And I don't think you should go into something, you shouldn't go into marriage thinking like divorce is the option. You shouldn't really go into a new role thinking, well, I'll just leave. Of course, that's a normal thing to think about, but timing, there's no right or wrong. It's just about the timing of where you are in your life, honoring that season, the alignment with you and what's important to your life. And again, you have to do some work to decide what are those really important things, and just really make sure that you are not sacrificing for like a short-term comfort, because you will be beyond miserable. It might feel like a relief for the first couple of paychecks, and then you're like, this was a terrible idea, and then you can change. So don't get so stuck that you feel like just because you committed to something or you tried something new that it's what has to be. The thing is, set yourself up for success as much as you can by doing the things we talked about in this episode, asking questions, getting some reality checks with yourself, really digging deeper, talking to the people around you that you respect and like, and kind of hearing their experiences and asking like, what things should I be considering, if I make this shift. Um, and definitely do not make decisions from fear. So if you are in a fear state, you must get to a place of grounding, or out of fear before you make a final decision.
Yeah, and to your point, there's nothing wrong with if you are in a place of fear, you know, get yourself get yourself positioned, maybe take a job you don't want to take, knowing that it's going to be a little safe haven financially for a little bit maybe, and then you move on to your next thing. Um, yeah, I mean, I think we could have just said it in a couple of lines, right? Like it's not an either or, it's an and I think we've we've been sold this story of, like I said, follow your passion and you know, the whole idea of, you know, do what you love. You can love what you do, and you can love, more importantly, the outcome of what you do. Um, you know, and I just thought, while you're talking of, you know, a little while back, you remember this, when I turned down this role in a different industry, um, in the financial advising industry. It would have been good money, but I would have not been able to do any of this. I wouldn't have been able to do any of my health coaching at the time.
Mm.
Wouldn't have led to FDN and the stuff I'm doing with Alpha. And I'm really glad I did that, because, you know, while we've been saying, uh, you know, you can do things that you don't love, or you can, you know, love what you do and whatnot. And I would have enjoyed that, but I wouldn't have had that fulfillment and the outcome I was looking for. I wouldn't have been a happy dad at home, because I would have been, you know, unfulfilled professionally. So there's a lot of things to consider, but I hope that across these two episodes, people have heard some of the stuff we said and said, you know, maybe I should stick with what I'm doing for now, and I could build this on the side, or, you know what, I've been trying to build this for 5 years now, and it's, you know, I'm sick of struggling. Maybe I want to go into a field. And I'll tell you, as entrepreneurs, you have the biggest skill set out of anybody, because you've worn every single hat at what would be a company. You've done the marketing, you've done the payroll, you've done the HR, you've done the creative, you've done all of it. You've done
Your
customer
audio
service.
switched. Oh, you're good. You're back.
Um, Maybe my voice is just going because it's getting late. But my point being, you know, you're walking in with a huge skill set that you should not discount. So don't think that, you know, the corporate world's not for you, because I used to think that. And I've been in it for 5 or 6 years now, and I actually do love it. That I love a bit of both, quite frankly. I love working for myself, but I really, really love being part of a team and a mission, and quite frankly, not having the responsibility of it all being on my shoulders, because I've had enough of that.
Yeah.
You
Especially
know,
the
you can
crap that
do
you
it.
don't like doing.
Yeah.
Let someone else do it.
Yeah.
Uh, I have one closing thought, and it is part of my core values, and it seems to be coming up more and more. And this is, even the days when it's crazy and you know what's hitting the fan, like, I'm still having fun. And as I get older in life and time becomes so much even more precious, like, it doesn't mean that everything that I do is fun, because there's a lot of hard work involved, but like, if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. And I do find fun in challenges, right? Like when you talk about, like, you might be up working at 10:30 at night and you're around everybody, that, like, you enjoy that. So,
Well, I won't be.
well, I know, because you'll be in
I
bed.
will be up at 4 in the morning to
Yes.
continue the work that I stopped the night
Yes.
before.
Um, so whatever that looks like to you, if it's driving you, if it's fueling you, if you are laughing, if you are having fun doing, creating, taking on the challenges, even though you might be kicking and screaming and crying and yelling and everything else, it's just my thing. Like, life is too short to
Yeah.
not find joy in what we're choosing to do, and everything is a choice. So whether it's your deep passion that you are working in, or it's something that's paying the bills and allowing you tremendous time for other things in life, just make sure you are finding the joy in it, and that when you're having moments of like, oh, what is this feeling like, getting back to that gratitude and getting back to whatever it's allowing you to do, you know, in other parts of your life. But you've got to be having fun. We've got to have fun, and we've got to have joy. And that is our responsibility, because everything we're doing is a choice and a decision.
Amen.
Until next time, friends, bye for now.
Oof, haven't had that in a while.